Fair or not, an NFL team's success or failures are usually attributed to the quarterback. And yeah, it's understandable. They only play the most critical position in professional sports. But there are far too many NFL quarterbacks who get way too much credit. A deeper dive into the numbers, however, and you'll see that these are merely average or below average QBs who wouldn't move the needle on another team. So with that, let's dive into 10 NFL quarterbacks who are actually worse than you realize. Trevor Lawrence. If Lawrence weren't a former first overall pick touted as a generational prospect, do you really think that he'd be a starter right now? Like, honest question. His rookie year was a write-off because of the nightmare that was Urban Meyer. Then he had an excellent 2022 campaign and led the Jacksonville Jaguars to an AFC South Division crown and wildcard round win, narrowly falling to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. T-Law and the Jags got off to a scorching 8-3 start in 2023, only to collapse with losses in 5 of their final 6 games. And before his season-ending concussion in 2024, Lawrence only had 11 touchdowns against 7 picks in 10 games. So they fired Meyer. But Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson couldn't get the most out of him despite winning a Lombardi Trophy with career backup Nick Foles. And now, here we are in 2025. The Jaguars drafted two-way phenom Travis Hunter and hired Liam Cohen as their new head coach. You know, the guy who got a career year out of Baker Mayfield last year. And yet, Lawrence hasn't shown any improvement in 2025. The Jags are winning because of the Travis Etienne-led ground game and a stingy defense. Meanwhile, T-Law is barely able to eclipse 220 passing yards a game. We are now in year 5 of Trevor Lawrence, who is on his 4th head coach. He still hasn't topped 25 passing touchdowns in a single season. And yet, somehow, he is still thought of as a very good QB. As do the Jaguars, who gave him a $275 million extension in the 2024 offseason. Hey, instead of making excuses and saying that his time will come, maybe we just need to accept that he's barely a top 20 starting QB in today's NFL and will never hit that generational ceiling that many expected. Justin Herbert. If fancy regular season stats and quarterbacks who can win a fantasy football league are your thing, then hey, Herbert is just for you. For a player who's put up Hall of Fame caliber numbers since his 2020 rookie year, you would certainly like to see more from Herbert though. Remember, he has the records for most passing yards through a quarterback's first 5 seasons and most total touchdowns through a player's first 2 seasons. But in the NFL, part of being a great quarterback means more than just stats. It means lifting up your teammates and getting the most out of them in crunch time. And under Herbert, well, that simply hasn't happened. Herbert's Los Angeles Chargers blew a 27-0 lead to the Jaguars in his NFL debut. In his second NFL game, Herbert threw 4 interceptions in a 32-12 blowout loss to a banged-up Houston Texans squad. We've seen Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and Baker Mayfield lead their teams to remarkable comeback wins time and time again. But Herbert just hasn't shown the it factor yet, and that's sort of what separates him from the NFL's top-tier QBs right now. But hey, at least his regular season stats are very, very good. Kyler Murray. It feels like half of the NFL crowd thinks that Murray is borderline elite and can break out any day. Then there's the other half that just agrees that this is who he is now. Over his first 4 seasons, it was easy for everyone to point the finger at Cliff Kingsbury. But Kingsbury is long gone and has now unlocked Jaden Daniels' potential in Washington. Jonathan Gannon hasn't gotten Murray going. The arrivals of Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. also haven't gotten Murray going. So, what does that exactly say about the number 1 pick of 2019? The skill set is awfully high, but Murray just isn't what you would expect of a former first overall pick. He's fun to watch when he's on his game, but that's only like, what, 50% of the time? He makes highlight reel plays, sure, but not at all on a consistent basis. Murray still hasn't thrown for 4,000 yards or 30 touchdowns in a season. Seriously, at what point do the Arizona Cardinals end their commitment to above average and seek a great quarterback? Bryce Young. The number 1 pick of the 2023 NFL Draft had a horrific rookie year, throwing for just 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Young was then benched early in his sophomore season for veteran Andy Dalton, who elevated the Carolina Panthers offense after taking over. After Dalton suffered a thumb injury in a car accident, the Panthers were then forced to go back to Young. The Alabama product finished the season on a very strong note though, throwing 7 touchdowns and 0 picks over his final 3 games. And while the Panthers have rebounded from a sloppy 0-2 start to reemerge as a playoff contender, Young is not the reason as to why. Before an ankle injury knocked him out for Week 8, he had exceeded 200 passing yards in only one game, tossing 11 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Young really hasn't had to do much of anything. He's just had to feed rookie wideout Tedero McMillan and rising star running back Rico Dowdle, who's been the real heart and soul of the Panthers offense. It says a lot that Carolina's offense has been better with Andy Dalton on the field. The Panthers are simply improving in spite of Bryce Young, not because of him. Put him on another QB-needy team and their fortunes really wouldn't change much. Geno Smith. Okay, so Smith wasn't a late bloomer after all. Rather, he was just a product of the Seattle Seahawks system. After Russell Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos in 2022, Seattle pushed Smith into the starting QB role. Just when we thought it was their nice way of saying that they were tanking, Smith posted a career year with 4,282 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions en route to comeback Player of the Year honors. Smith earned his second Pro Bowl nod in 2023 despite missing 2 games, but unfortunately, 2022 and 2023 would be peak Geno Smith. Though he threw for 4,320 yards and 21 touchdowns in 2024, Smith also threw 15 interceptions. The Seahawks saw an opportunity to upgrade and traded Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders in the 2025 offseason before signing ex-Minnesota Vikings Pro Bowler Sam Darnold to a 3-year deal. While Darnold is having an excellent first season in Seattle, Smith has just kind of imploded in Las Vegas. We thought that reuniting with Pete Carroll would do wonders, and that's to say nothing of a supporting cast featuring Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, and Jacoby Myers. If Darnold can excel with practically the exact same supporting cast that Smith had, what does that say about the Raiders QB? Like we said, a product of the Seahawks QB-friendly system. I mean, geez, just look at how much Wilson has fallen off since leaving Seattle. Oh well, at least Smith bolstered his bank account thanks to 2 good years in Seattle. Justin Fields. Well, folks, it is unfortunately time to accept that Justin Fields is just a bad quarterback. Over his first 3 seasons with the Chicago Bears, it was easy to pinpoint his struggles on coaching malpractice, a terrible offensive line, and a lackluster supporting cast. Chicago has been a quarterback graveyard for decades after all. Fields had a solid 6-game audition for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 in place of an injured Russell Wilson, going 4-2 with 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a career-best 93.3 passer rating. So it was understandable when the New York Jets gave Fields a 2-year deal worth $40 million in free agency. Joining a rush-heavy offense led by Breece Hall with a highly touted rookie head coach in Aaron Glenn? Hey, worth the gamble. Or so it seemed. Fields has been downright terrible with the Jets, getting benched in favor of Tyrod freaking Taylor in Week 7. He can run the ball, sure, but Fields cannot hit his receivers or read defenses to save his life. There is no deep ball to speak of. It is all dink and dunk or running the ball by himself. At this rate, he's better off trying his hand in a Taysom Hill-like role or being thrown in for an occasional RPO play. He is simply not a capable starting QB in the modern NFL. Tua Tagovailoa. Before the Miami Dolphins' nightmare 2025 season commenced, some folks viewed Tagovailoa as a borderline top 10 quarterback. Now, the Dolphins' failures in 2025 aren't entirely on Tagovailoa. The offensive line stinks. The defense is atrocious. Mike McDaniel should not be a head coach anymore. Oh, and Tyreek Hill's season-ending knee injury really doesn't help matters. But even before the 2025 season, Tagovailoa got way more love than warranted. Remember his career-long struggles of beating teams with winning records? Also, his numbers didn't start taking off until he got Hill paired up with Jalen Waddle, giving Tagovailoa arguably football's best receiving tandem. Throw in Devon Achane in the 2023 version of Raheem Mostert, and Tagovailoa was simply the product of a star-studded supporting cast. Keep in mind, he's never thrown for 30 TDs in a season and has eclipsed 4,000 passing yards once. Michael Penix Jr. Penix has been awfully tough to analyze through his first 2 seasons. On one hand, he has certainly been better than Kirk Cousins after replacing the 4-time Pro Bowler late last year. On the other hand, you'd also expect better from a former 8th overall pick given the ridiculous amount of talent around him. Some fans seem to paint a picture of Penix being a true franchise QB because of what he did in his final season at Washington. You know, when he led them to a national championship game appearance. But Penix's accuracy has been shaky at best. His decision-making should get better over time, but he doesn't look anything like a real franchise QB right now. Penix has a rocket arm and a nice deep ball, sure, but that's about it. He's not able to read defenses, pick up blitzes, or get the ball out quickly. Instead of being a dink and dunk QB when the situation calls for it, he too often forces the inaccurate deep balls that even his star-studded cast can't corral. With a sub-90 career passer rating and below-average stats, Penix is actually near the bottom of full-time starting NFL QBs. We need to stop treating him like a budding superstar because of his college success and recognize that he's not even coming close to scratching that high ceiling that he has. CJ Stroud. Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons ever in 2023, throwing for 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. He helped Houston to a surprise AFC South Division crown and wildcard round win. Stroud had a disappointing sophomore year, however, with only 3,727 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a subpar 87.0 passer rating. Houston still did enough to win another division crown and their second straight wildcard round game, though. Stroud has inexplicably been even worse in his third season, despite the luxury of playing in a very weak AFC South. With his numbers decreasing each season, it's not a stretch to wonder if he peaked as a rookie. Hey, just saying, that same thing happened with Robert Griffin III. Maybe this is just who Stroud is, a merely average QB. Bo Nix. Nix exceeded expectations as a rookie, throwing for 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions to go along with 430 rushing yards and 4 TDs. Nix led the Broncos to 10 wins and a surprise playoff appearance, their first in 9 years. Nix was expected to take a big leap in year 2 under the tutelage of Sean Payton. While the Broncos are still churning out wins, Nix has not been a big reason as to why. In fact, he's actually one of the reasons why their record isn't better. Look at the Broncos' wins this year. Nix had a weird habit of not showing up until the fourth quarter, and he's only able to pull off those comeback wins thanks to the Broncos' lights-out defense that keeps making the timely stops in the first place. Missed throws, a not-so-great deep ball, and the inability to pick up blitzes have been problematic for Nix. He's lucky that he plays for a Hall of Fame coach with a great defense and a quality offensive supporting cast to keep him in games. Broncos are not winning because of Nix. He is winning because he's on the Broncos. There's a big difference. But which other quarterbacks are worse than people realize? Who do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we're wrong about? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.